Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with a sketchbook tour. This is my first ever sketchbook tour, and this is what I call sketchbook 1, but it's not my first ever sketchbook. I've done many sketchbooks. I don't often complete them, I'll be honest. Does anyone else have trouble completing sketchbooks? In the past I was never really that fussed, but nowadays I really want to try and complete my sketchbooks because I think it's a great way to see how you've improved over time. So keeping a sketchbook and just kind of focusing on one, you can see exactly how you've improved over time. Whereas if you use loads of different types of ones, that's fine, but you can't really, you don't get really a chronological view of your progress. So yeah, so this is the first one. I've named it Sketchbook 1 because it's the one that the first one that I've actually decided to name a number, so that's why I did that. It's the first one I would be probably willing to share. It's the first one I feel is actually somewhat okay, but of course sketchbooks aren't supposed to be perfect, so by no means am I saying anything should be perfect, and this certainly isn't perfect. It's just the first one that I feel confident enough to share. Maybe in the future I might share some older ones, but like I say, they're not very well put together and they're not very kind of together in a chronological order, so I think this one's a good one to start with. So I'm going to open it up. So the cover I actually did last. I always wanted to do a cover design for my sketchbook, and I did eventually do this, but it was like way after I completed this sketchbook. I'm really pleased with it. So I mean, it's not amazing, but I'm pleased with it. But by no means did I do this before I even started the sketchbook. So you'll see, hopefully you'll see a little bit of improvement, and this is probably one of the better pieces. So yeah. Yes, let's just get into it. So this page I also did at the end, because what I generally do, it's just a habit, it's probably not a good habit, but leave the first page blank. I don't know why, but I always feel a bit intimidated by the first page, so I'll leave it blank, and eventually I'll come back to it and do something with it. But in this case I left it till the very last, and then when it came to do my cover design, I thought I'd use this page to develop my ideas. I think it's quite a nice little page of ideas. It's a bit rough, but I think that's what sketchbooks should be. So there's not many, well, there's not really any finished pieces in here. There's a few pieces that are a little bit more finished, but not really. It is literally just a sketchbook for practicing and brain dumping and all my ideas and stuff, and practicing as well. Practicing is probably the main thing I use sketchbooks for, just practicing different things I want to draw. So you'll see a lot of cats in here because I wanted to get better at drawing cats, and obviously that kind of comes through on the cover as well. And the celestial theme is just a theme I like to do anyway. So that's the first one. I'm really happy with it. Just used some references, drew the cats first, and then I don't really like blank space, so I will go in and fill in some blank space sometimes. I just think it makes it look a bit nicer, a bit more aesthetically pleasing. And so this is where I actually started. So you can probably see, I think there's a definite improvement between this and this. But yeah, I mean, it's just practice, so I'm not gonna criticize it. It's just, it is what it is. So again, I don't really like just using one color in a sketchbook. So what I did was I got some, what they called, I think they're called Pentel Eno pencils. They're like coloured graphite, but you can still rub them out to some extent. Obviously you can see they're not like the best rubbing out, but yeah, I really enjoy using these because they just add a pop of colour. And I use Posca pens to just do a little bit of blocks of colour as well, just to kind of make certain bits stand out. Nothing you've not seen before, I'm sure. I think I got this idea from another YouTuber. I can't remember who, so sorry about that, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of you do this already anyway. So yeah, more cats. I think what I was trying to aim for here, I don't want to be too long on this video, I don't want it to be like really long, so I'm not going to try and explain everything. But what I was trying to do as a common goal through this sketchbook was to try and make my cats a bit more illustrative rather than realistic. So, but I think the best place to start is just by drawing loads of cats from references. So yeah, you can see some of them look a bit more, not realistic, but a bit more anatomically like a cat. And then you'll see later there are a bit more kind of cartoony ones. And the reason I was drawing cats was, like I say, I was trying to create like almost a character. And I really liked the idea of like having a fortune telling cat, like a fortune teller cat. So I was kind of trying to come up with some more kind of making it look almost personified, like a person cat type thing. I got some references from the game Ni no Kuni, which I absolutely love. It's so inspiring, the art style. It's I think it's Studio Ghibli, but there's all these like little cat people in this cat village, which is right up my street. So yeah, very inspired by that. And then I came up with a few ideas. Still think this needs more work, and it is something I want to work on more, but it's just something that I never really came back to just yet. And then developing more the themes, so obviously fortune telling and palm reading, and trying to put a spin on it so it's a bit more kind of related to a cat. So instead of palmistry, I put pawistry. I did a little fortune telling booth, which is cute. Just kind of, I'd love to do more of this kind of character and world building kind of stuff, but it is just, I just find it so intimidating. Like, so much work goes into this kind of stuff, and I'd love to do it. I just don't think I'm at that level yet. And this is probably a much more finished piece within this sketchbook. So although it's not a finished piece, it's, you know, I was trying to play around with colour and paints and stuff, and I'll just use one purple and just use different tones of it, as you can see in the swatches, just to kind of get a feel for what colours I wanted. But again, it needs a lot more work. Definitely nothing in here is perfect, but yeah, it's just my sketching really. So again, a little bit more. This is kind of where I stopped with it. I've just never come back to it, but I really need to. I think it is a matter of confidence and feeling like I'm not good enough to do something like that yet, which is bad because you're never going to get better at anything if you don't practice. But yeah, that's just the way I work really. So this next bit is a logo I was designing, or like an illustrative logo I was designing for a small business called Caspers Closet. I'll link them down below. I did eventually come up with a finished logo, but this is all just developing the design. So it was for children's clothes, so I was just kind of getting a vibe for, I don't sketch people very much, so I was trying to get a vibe for like children's proportions and like how you can make them look more cute, and again a bit more cartoony, a bit more illustrative. I was going for a very traditional kind of look, so this little guy here in the boots, he's probably a bit more kind of what I was after, like a very nice, pleasant kind of children's book style, like traditional children's book style. And it started off pretty bad, I've got to admit. Some of these look scary, and I'm aware of that. I'm sure a lot of you do that, like you start drawing something and sometimes you just make a monster, and it's like, oh my word, I've created a monster. But yeah, I feel like you have to get through that stage, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not too bothered about showing these, because this is just where I needed to go to get to the finished thing. So you can see they're getting a bit more refined. I did want with this sketchbook to use more kind of mediums, because I'm very kind of in my kind of like comfort zone with the pencil. So I did want to try and start adding a bit more mediums. So not very successfully, but I just started trying to add a little bit of, I think this is gouache, and a bit of Posca pen liner, and yeah, it's all just very experimental at this point. And then I started kind of trying to do different things. My client said that they wanted a little girl now with the little boy as well, so I started kind of coming up with some ideas where I could incorporate his little sister, because even though it's Caspers Closet, they do sell girls' clothes too, and they wanted that to come through, so that's kind of where I was going here. And then this one's quite nice, quite like that. That was kind of like the start of the style I was going for. And then you can see I kind of really did like, kind of came down to either this, where you just see the backs of them sitting down, or they're kind of chasing the bee idea. So yeah, I carried on with that. I'm quite aware this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm just going to try and get a bit through it a bit quicker. But yeah, and I'm sorry that the camera's not great quality. When I zoom in, it goes better, but then you're not going to be able to see the whole lot, so maybe I'll just do it like that. Yeah, so I decided eventually on these two ideas, but then it kind of evolved into this kind of where they're sitting together, but you can see them from the front, and I developed a few different like facial features and things, but essentially I did come back to the little where they're sat together, and you can see them from behind and the bees flying over. But I will link the small business in the description below so you can have a look at the logo, how it turned out. But yeah, this was really fun, and I think I managed to definitely explore some ideas here. I did take it digitally, that's why the finished, nothing kind of finished is in here, because I did, once I knew exactly what idea I wanted to go with, I took it onto the iPad and used Procreate to complete the logo. This is quite fun actually. I really enjoy doing stuff like this in a sketchbook. It's really relaxed. Basically I was working from a book, I think it was called Kawaii, I'll try and link it below if I can, Kawaii Doodles or something. It shows you step by step how to create these really easy and simple kawaii foods, and it was, I think it's not just foods, no it's not, it's different kawaii things, but this page I filled with like food and drink, and I just thought it was really fun to do it in the different colours. It's just, obviously it's not like the best artwork ever, and it's not really even mine because I've used a step-by-step guide, but it's just a really nice way of doodling when you're maybe not feeling massively creative and you just want to do something. So yeah, and then from there I kind of developed it. This is a little bit better. I think this is all kind of fast food and your typical fast food franchise colours. And yeah, I used Tombow dual brush pens for this, and a Posca 1MR. You can see I was playing about with some different pens, a Tombow Fudenosuke as well, but I decided I like the black ink better, the black Posca better. And I did kind of, I think I added some water to some of this, make it a bit more watercolory, but yeah, it was a really fun exercise. So again, a nice idea for your sketchbook. And then again, just in the green pencil, I did some different kind of plants and weather and different things. And these are great because even though you might not use this as an illustration because it's not, you know, like you've copied it from a book, you might use elements. So you might, in one of your illustrations, you might think, oh, I need a rainbow. I know how to draw a rainbow now. Like I could do the clouds like curly like this, or I could do the thundercloud with a face on it and it looking angry, or, you know, so you can use this, and it's definitely a great way to develop your style. Like for example, the grass on this tree. That's just such a cute way of drawing grass, so I could take that now and use it in a future illustration. I'm not copying the whole thing, I'm just using that way of drawing grass and possibly develop it more into my own style. So yeah, I think that's a nice page as well. Here, this was literally just a brain dump of ideas for Christmas. I was doing a Christmas design and it ended up being really simple. I think it ended up being like, it needed to be simple because I was painting it onto a sleigh, but I just wanted to have a go at some different folk style designs while I was at it. So I just did lots of different, playing about with different motifs and stuff like that. I love folk art, so yeah. Oh, that was, I think these cutouts were part of the stencil that I ended up using. I sometimes like to stick little bits like that in Sketchbook. This is a bit of a fail page. I was trying to play about with some acrylic paints I had. They weren't very good quality. And I thought the colours looked quite nice together, so I thought I would do a bit of a doodle with them. But turns out they don't look very nice together, so that was a bit of a fail. But it's fine. Like, it's nice to see experiments, I think. So yeah. Right, moving on. This was my sticker collection that I do sell in my Etsy shop. It's the cottagecore kind of sticker collection. So I wanted to go for like cozy vibes. So I started by doing some sketching of different kinds of hot drinks and hot chocolate and things like that, which were nice. I could actually take this further now because I didn't go in this direction in the end. I just wanted to get some ideas. I knew my name was going to be Autumn Alchemy. That was what was set on. So I think at first I thought like, alchemy is like recipes and making different things, so we could make like loads of different drinks. But I didn't go with that in the end. I went with a bit more of a witchy, mushroomy kind of feel. So you may recognise some of these sketches. This is where it all started. So this one got made into a sticker. A lot of these potion bottles got developed into stickers. So this is where I generally start all my kind of sticker collections and stuff. I will try and grab some of my stickers. I don't think I have any to hand that are finished, but like finished pieces. These were just like test pieces, but you can kind of get an idea of what it is. So again, I took these digital eventually because that's generally how I like to work, but you can see where all the ideas have come from, and I think that's the most interesting thing about a sketchbook, like seeing where all your ideas started. So it actually started with mugs of hot drinks and became this. But saying that, I could definitely use these for another set of stickers. It'd be great at Christmas or in winter, those. So yeah, you can see some of the ideas I explored didn't, like this lantern didn't get used, the rose didn't get used in the end, but it was just a way of developing my ideas, so that was really fun. Again, this is from working from a book, like a how to draw book. Again, I'll try and link it. I think it's called Magical Creatures or something like that. I really like the style of this artist. I think it's two artists actually who wrote and illustrated this book. So yeah, I kind of wanted to replicate it so I could then take pieces again and use it in my own style. Because this isn't my style, but I can use elements of it. And obviously you it's almost like your handwriting, your style, your drawing style. So even you could copy something, but it still wouldn't look exactly like what you've copied because the way you draw lines is different. So yeah, I'm just rambling now. So yeah, quite a simple page, just tigers and lions, well, big cats, a range of different big cats. There's a few more there, just working out proportions and stuff. It's a great exercise to do. This one, just doodling really. I got some references of some cats and I tried to do some kind of more cartoony ones, as I said before. You can see, and maybe trying to add like a pun, because obviously cats are known for getting in places they shouldn't be. So yeah, I was just playing around with that really. And some of them are quite cute. These didn't become anything, but I think it was quite a nice exercise to do. This was also from that book before, that Magical Garden or Magical Creatures or whatever it was called. Some botanicals. I'm not a massive fan of these. Obviously they look lovely in the book, but the way I've drawn them, I'm not sure about. I think they'd look better if they were painted rather than sketched. So going in with gouache and stuff like that, I think they'd look better. But yeah, it was, it's good at finding out what you like and what you don't like. And some more cats. So these are cats practicing different styles. So sometimes I'll make a little note to remind me what I was doing at the time. So I think this one I went on Google or Pinterest or something like that and just copied some different styles just to find out what I liked and what I didn't like. I don't think any of these are quite me, but I did find I like when they look like this cat looks quite cheeky. I quite like that. So I feel like I could maybe develop that more. And then I did a bit more with cats from reference, so from actual references. And a lot of these are kind of preferred actually, even though they do look a bit more realistic. I think you have to try both to find the style you want. Okay, next. I was playing about with figure drawing. I went through a phase of wanting to draw figures. I still want to draw figures well, but it's a massive task. You really have to commit to practicing like a lot, I think. So anyway, so again, it's something I've kind of put on hold, but at the time I used Line of Action, which is a website, and basically what it does is it shows you real life figure photos for 5, 10, 30 seconds, whatever you put in, and it will then take it off at the end of that time. So you have to sketch it in that time, and whatever you don't get sketched, you just supposed to leave it. So you can see some of these are extremely rough. This was 30 seconds. So I was shown a figure for 30 seconds, and this is what I created each one. So yeah, it's not a lot of time, but it's a great exercise to be able to just get more gestural with your drawing. Only include the absolute necessities to make it look like a figure. This one obviously isn't finished, obviously didn't have time. Looks like I was messing about too much trying to get the arm right. But yeah, it's a really good exercise. So after that, I did the 60-second one, and you can see these are a little bit more kind of getting somewhere, but still very, very rough. And then these ones are with no time limit. So I just wanted to have a go at drawing the figures with no time limit. And they are a lot more kind of finished, and it looks a little bit more proportionate. But this exercise is really worth doing because you can just get so caught up in details when you don't give yourself a time limit. So I definitely think the 60-second and the 30-second exercise was worth it. And even like a 5-minute one or a 10-minute one would be useful, because you could get more detail, but you still have to limit yourself and just get on with it. This portion is a Skillshare class I took. I'll try and link it below. I can't remember for the life of me the teacher's name, but it was a really useful Skillshare class. It basically taught, I think it was called No Rules, or Breaking the Rules, or something like that, figure drawing. And it was all about basically making little cartoon characters and not having to follow the exact proportion rules. But it did teach how to draw a bit more of a moving body. It went through this kind of flower bag technique where you can draw a flower bag and it kind of essentially looks like a body moving. Went through loads of different face styles, hands, arms, and this was useful, and it is useful if you're trying to get an illustrative style, because obviously it's not true to life. It's kind of spaghetti arms and little hands, and it's not accurate, but it is really whimsical and fun, and yeah, it's great for developing a style. So again, the feet, I quite like it, this style of foot where it kind of looks a bit like a boot. I think that's quite cute, so that's something that kind of develops. But yeah, it's loads of different things in that class. It was great. Also proportions, and I did a lot of kind of studies of what she'd done and came up with some of my own. And yeah, again, some of them are very weird, but I think it's a great exercise, and different body styles and stuff. This one is on my channel. It's a series I started and never really finished it. Sorry about that. It's how to fill your sketchbook. So easy ways to fill your sketchbook when you just want something to do, but you don't really want to think about it too much, or you're intimidated by the white page. This I just used a few different supplies. I used acrylic paint, Posca pens, that might be it actually, and created this kind of background. So yeah, it's just fun. It's just something to kind of break you in, maybe if you're wanting to do some drawing but you feel a bit intimidated by the blank page. So that's that. And then following on from that, I really like these colours, so I decided to do a little bit of strawberry pattern. Kind of felt like making a pattern, so I developed some strawberries. I decided I like the pink better than the red on this background, and I just did a really simple pattern. Didn't become anything, it was just for fun really. And then I was practicing a chibi style because I was doing a personalised illustration for my sister's birthday, so me and my two sisters. So I wanted to develop a bit more of a cartoony style just to make it a bit more fun. This one is very similar to the one that I ended up being. Again, I'll try and put it on the screen if I can, but you can see it on my Instagram, the finished piece. And then this was when I wanted to do my own Christmas wrapping paper. So I was just coming up with, you've probably seen this in the video if you've watched it, Christmas wrapping paper. Just lots of different foliage, practicing different simple motifs that I could use on the wrapping paper. This was development, and this is the finished piece. This was another video I did, how to fill your sketchbook. Pick something you like basically and draw it, simplify it, make it fun, add patterns. It's a nice fun page, and you can use a limited colour palette as well, makes it a little bit easier, a little bit less intimidating. These are just doodling again, simple landscapes. I quite like to develop these more, as with a lot of things, but yeah, at the time I didn't. I just wanted to do some sketching and some different kinds of succulents because I really like succulents, and particularly did at the time some little cartoony foxes. And this is my friend's dog. I just felt like drawing her. And here's some cats. Again, I was into the folky style, so I was trying to get like folky patterns. So I did a bit of a llama because I feel like llamas are quite kind of folksy. A little fox, some cats, and I had to go an otter, and I really like this actually. I feel like I could develop this more as well. And then this was something I was doing for, this is on my Instagram as well. So for Hobbycraft, I was doing some backgrounds for their crochet Christmas advent. So they had lots of different things in the advent that you could crochet each day, and I did the background for them, and they animated them a bit to make them look like the crochet thing was in the scene. So like for this one, there was a narwhal. I did like a background, sea background. So yeah, I was having a little play with that, but again, it went digital quite quickly. That I just did a few little thumbnails, and then I got straight onto the iPad because I was well, obviously when you're doing something for a client, you limited more with time, so you can't always spend hours and hours and hours in your sketchbook, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, it just depends. This I was just practicing figures again. I think these were from a comic book, and I just liked the aesthetics, so I was just having a go. Not very successfully. This one looks weird, but this one quite like emotions and things. I find it quite hard to draw emotions, so I think plenty of practice with that is good. Right, this one was when I bought these, and I had so much fun with them. So these are just like kids' pencil crayons, but they come in all different skin tones, which I think is amazing, because for accurate skin tones, I think these are really good, and they were inexpensive, and they're actually really good. So some of these weren't too good. I don't like the liner, so I decided against doing the liner in the end. This one's, I think, is quite nice. I'm really pleased with this one. I just think it looks really illustrative, and that one as well I quite like. This one looks quite illustrative. This one looks a little bit weird, I think. But yeah, I swatched them all out, and I had really good fun doing that, and like, it's a great way to practice something, just having all the colours there that you need, and not having to go and buy a certain colour or whatever. And this was just playing about. So my friend Jade bought me one of those pencils. I don't have it to hand, but it's basically got different coloured lead in it, and she said these are really fun to doodle with, so I had a go, and she was right, they are really fun to doodle with. You get like a rainbow effect, and I just drew some really simple plants and stuff like that. And I think I was going to paint this, but I never did. Just a little landscape. And then this was when I was practicing mushroom clusters, and I made this one, pretty much this one, into a lino cut stamp. This was Celestial. Again, I was on Celestial, in a Celestial feeling this day, obviously, and I did some big sun with some patterns around, and then some different little doodles. This was the lino cut, so that was the final sketch that I traced onto the piece, cut it out, and this is what the print looked like in the end. So I just thought I'd keep them in my sketchbook. Oh, I have some things here I was playing with. Sometimes I do little cutouts. I think I was trying to make like a plushie. So I never carried on with this, but there's some pieces there that I made to try and sew together, so like I could make a plushie. That's just, I like the style of this, so I kept it. And these were some more liner cutting ideas, so I did do some like little acorns and stuff as well, and some mushrooms. And then seed pods and pine cones. Can't remember what this was for, but felt like drawing them, obviously. Playing with acrylic paint here, trying to get like a good petal shape. And Gardevoir Pokemon. I just wanted to draw her. I think I'd been playing Diamond and Pearl Remastered, and I had a Gardevoir in my party, so she kept doing like her sidekick moved something and it looked really cool, so I just wanted to kind of sketch that out and play about with it. Little acrylic painting here that I did to prepare for a workshop I was teaching at work. And then this, from here onwards, I think this was a Skillshare class as well by Julia. I can't remember her surname. I'll link her again in the description. A Skillshare class where it was basically just drawing, but it was a really in-depth course, and it is really good. So I'd recommend that. Just doing form and textures. A lot of this I did on loose paper for some reason. Kind of wish I'd done it in my sketchbook now, but yeah, different textures. It's quite cool because it's good to keep a record of all this stuff as well. If you ever come to something and you want to draw some bark and you didn't have access to the internet or any pictures or anything, you could literally reference your drawings. Little turtle with a close-up face. This is a red panda, I think, and some birds. And then my new sketchbook's kind of gone in, carried on from this, but I won't show you that now. Then at the end, I just tested supplies. So this probably was done midway through the sketchbook. I got some new supplies and I just decided to test them out. So this was some paint pens I got. These are all my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils that I own, and this is good as well when you're going to shop for new colours. You can take this and you know what you've got, because I always forget. And then that's my Tombow dual brush pens, which is quite a small collection, but it's, yeah, it does me. So that is my sketchbook, and I didn't say before, this was from Amazon. I think it cost about £6. I got it during lockdown. I think it's Artway Studio case, 195ml. I don't know if it's still available. This was not the best quality sketchbook. I liked the size. I like a square format. The paper was okay for drawing on. You can tell from where some of the media is, it gets a little bit buckly, but it's not bad at all for like acrylics. You probably couldn't use watercolour on it, and that's why I haven't. But yeah, it did me just fine. And I think this is a great little sketchbook for me to look back on, because I think it's where I really started taking things a bit more seriously. Not that I haven't in the past, but I kind of decided I wanted to complete a sketchbook and really work on my art. So I think that's why the sketchbook means a lot to me. And I'm also really pleased with the cover, and it looks cute. So yeah, I'm sorry if this video is really long. I'll try and cut a little bit out of it so it's not so long, but I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I should be back soon with another video. Let me know if you enjoyed this and if you'd like to see another one. I could do some of my past sketchbooks, possibly the ones that weren't finished that I'm semi-happy with, or if you want me to do them again in the future. But it does take me a long time to fill a sketchbook. I don't know about you guys, but I find it quite a task, but I want to get better at that. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe as well if you haven't already. It means a lot to me. Finally got to 500, so thank you for everyone for your support. It means now, it's only a little thing, but it means I can use my community tab now to like make posts, so I can let you know what's going on. If there hasn't been a video for a while, I can let you know why or whatever, so that's really useful as well. So thank you, it really means a lot, and I will see you all next time. Bye.